It's a Friday edition of Red Sox Now. It's all presented by FanArch. And make sure to follow me on my social channel. I did have a few people ask about the Discord. I can't leave it. I might have to put the link in without it being a link. So I tried. If you didn't get it, hit me up on social at the Radio Mike or TikTok. And I'm not sure if I can. Can you search for a server? I'm not sure. But if you want to do that, we can have a lot of MLB talk over the weekend, which we are doing over on the Discord. So make sure to give me a follow over there. And yes, last show of the week. I'll try to do some updates over on my personal one, which you guys know, Mike Antonellis Media. You know, I think the one issue with the winter meetings for fans everywhere, and I saw this, I follow a lot of fans that are fan bases and other teams, beat writers. I think the winter meetings are too built up for people, and it's amazing even here in New England how many people are writing stories about the Sox, not doing anything at the winter meetings. No one really did anything at the winter meetings. Yes, the Philly re-signed, in Baltimore, of course, with Alonso, and Philly kept Schwarber, but it wasn't this big, giant 3-4 day bonanza of trades and free agent signings. I mean, the Dodgers signed Diaz, but a lot of the playoff teams really didn't do much. We know the Red Sox, they made their moves before that. Yankees, Toronto, Cleveland, Detroit, Seattle, Houston. The Mets are going in a different direction. Philly is a very stable organization. Milwaukee, Chicago, Cincinnati, Padres, a lot of talk as always. And, I mean, it's only a 3-day window. So I don't know if maybe it was built up too much. And maybe I didn't do a good enough job explaining that because I wasn't expecting all this. I think Major League Baseball maybe did that too much. It's still only, we had a World Series game on November 1st. And last year we had a ton of moves that happened after. Things are naturally slower now. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it's going to be. Teams are different on how they do business. I talked to somebody last night, and I want to pull up their text. It's somebody that works in baseball that knows a lot of this. And he said, we were just talking back and forth, and he goes, the one thing that happens the one thing that is happening now that I think people know is that the analytics side, and he goes, even the Dodgers are doing, everyone is doing this. They are really making their trades and their free agent, he goes, especially the free agent signings are based on their numbers and their, calculations. And then he wrote, I'm sure Boris loves that, ha ha ha. Yeah. Because I don't think Scott Boras has been able to negotiate like he used to. Scott used to have these elaborate printouts and charts of his players with all these, before all of this analytics. And he had all of these presentations on, and it worked, I think, more because he would have numbers, and now teams can beat them. But I don't think deep down he was happy with the Alonso deal. I've seen many people say that that's what he wanted. No chance. There's no chance that he wanted to get. Schwarber is not his client. There's no doubt he was trying to play that off. I mean, he doesn't deal with a lot. I mean, he deals with some of the smaller market. We know, but he just assumed, I think, and I did too. Once the Schwarber deal happened, he was getting 6 from the Mets. But I wouldn't. I think the winter meetings is definitely made people angrier, thinking that that's the end-all, end-all. And I don't know why. I mean, there's no rules about deadlines. I just think that some of us are too fascinated with just wanting moves, and they got to happen now, and they don't, and they haven't. The off season's completely changed. And we've talked about this. The trade deadline is not what it used to be. It's just not. Teams are taking longer. They have their own evaluations, and they're dragging things out, and they're not giving in as much. I think really in the old way, I think Dombrowski gives, and Steve Phillips said this, he thought they would go 6 or 7 with Schwarber. It's just different. And whether we like it or not, I don't love the slowness of it. It's going to drag out, and I think you have to read the room when no one's really doing a lot. A lot of the playoff teams have been silent. And it's just a fact. And there's not as much buzz for certain guys, which I'll get to in a few minutes. And I still think Bregman signs back with the Red Sox. There's just no market for him. Or there is. I don't know. We're definitely speculating a lot. I don't like to think just through social media, and we're all doing this, that's his market. He has decisions in this too. So yes, there could be teams that come up, and Boris is saying no right away. Here's the one thing that JP Ricciardi told me what happens. Teams he said, when he was with Toronto, he'd get a call from someone. A lot of them are all buddies. Would you be interested in this guy? Potentially. We're talking to these teams, and JP said, yeah, we'll circle back, circle back with us. So then that gets leaked as, well, Toronto's really interested in this guy, which they are and they're not. A lot of that happens because I've talked to my Tigers guy about Marte, and he said he didn't know where any of the media reports were coming from. The Tigers are not interested in Marte. Now, that could be wrong, and that could be one of those, chick in on us. The Rays are obviously. That was right. That to me is one of the most legitimate, well, 2 of the 3, I guess. But I thought the Marte buzz in the rumors were the most legitimate because the Rays were involved. And I'm not picking on the Rays, but you don't see them linked to anybody because they don't spend money. So I have to think that was the Diamondbacks who were putting that out there. And my guy from the Tigers just said, he didn't know what pitching that they liked. And then there's rumors about Shane Baz and Ryan Pepito for Marte. So we'll see. But I still think Bregman signs back. That's where he wants to be. I still go back to last year. And I picked on Bregman a little bit for showing his cards, so to speak. The grin from ear to ear he had when he signed with Boston and talked about, they originally drafted him. This is a place he wanted to be, and the things he did, just so it would be weird for me. Hey, listen, it could happen. Like, he could get blown out of the water and get 6 years and then take it. Obviously, money talks. But I do deep down believe this is the place he wants to be. And when you're a Boris client, he does not like you showing your hand. So he's telling Bregman to wait it out to see what more they can get. And teams aren't blinking anymore. This is the difference. Before, teams would give in. It's not that they're cheap. It's just they don't want to overpay, and they don't want to give years to guys anymore. Look at Bogarts. That deal is not going to age well. And there's rumors that they've wanted out of that, the first or second year. And he's a Boris guy. Boris got 6 or 7 teams have adjusted. But this took a long time last year, if you think about it, right? I mean, we didn't get Bregman till the end. He waited and waited and waited. And I could see that deal happening today or in February. Be nice if it happened today, wouldn't it, on a Friday? So I think this is really intriguing. Is there something up with Kyle Tucker? Whether that be off the field? I don't know. I just thought there was really a lack, and I know that Vladimir Guerrero sent him a message on Instagram, and I know he visited the Blue Jays complex, but I thought there was not much mentioned about this guy at all. At all. Even before the winter meetings. I mean, a couple of years ago, we were talking about this guy is one of the best players in the game. When he became a full-time starter, he is a true 5-tool player. Gold Glove outfielder, great arm. He can run. He can hit for average. He can hit for power. He can hit to all fields. 28's not that old. When Houston traded him, I said, oh, there we go. We're going to get an extension. We know what Houston does. You know, that's the way Houston does business. They don't keep players. It's worked for them. They have done I'm not criticizing them. It is what it is. You know, they keep some, but they make really good moves. And I just assumed, all right, the Cubs get him. Pretty good year with the Cubs. And then radio silence. I haven't heard anything. I think it's weird for a guy that among, I mean, I get he's an outfielder, but he is a very good player. We had more Ketel Marte talk, who was locked up from someone else, right? He's under contract. There was not much talk, so I don't know. Is he a good teammate? I don't know anything about him. The voice of the Astros is a friend of mine. He worked in the Eastern League, and he was a Binghamton Mets broadcaster, Rob Ford. I've known Rob since 2001. Rob and I worked in Syracuse together, and we would be on the same broadcast as the Syracuse Crunch hockey team. I was the pre- and post-game host. Rob was the rinkside. We go down to him in between periods and during the game, and Rob's now the voice of the Astros, and I see him, and I don't really ever ask him about players. I don't know. I would, some people I do. With some of the people that I'm closer to, I actually don't. I ask less. I don't. It's just I don't like to put friends in a weird spot. And other people I don't mind asking that that broadcasters are different. You know, they cover the team differently than people who cover the team as beat writers or just other social media. But I don't know. I find it strange because there's always stuff out there. And really wasn't a lot about Bichette. Think about it. Those are two of the top free agents, I would think. And not much. All right, let's wrap up the show with Thursday's comments. Jared Pasqua. Any relation to Dan? I'm gladly give Milwaukee, Crawford, Duran, Tolley, or Early, as long as we would sign Peralta to an extension. Yeah, that's the other thing that's coming up. The unwillingness of the Brewers to keep Freddie Peralta. But you know what? The Brewers kind of remind me of what the Cardinals were. When the Cardinals traded Alan Craig and Joe Kelly for John Lackey, I was saying something is up. They know something. Alan Craig was what? Alan Craig was one of the best position players, and then he got this one injury, and he couldn't play anymore. Kelly was good, and Lackey was better, though. I mean, I think that they knew something was going on. If it's true, that Milwaukee would want to trade their ace. I don't know. On the books for $8 million. Really good year. Why would the Brewers want to do that? Well, if they do, and they ended up getting earlier Tolley, think about that. They got Mizorowski. They're going to get Woodruff back. If they got, and they already took Quinn Priester from you, earlier Tolley slides right into that rotation at league minimum. And if you looked at the value, couldn't earlier Tolley, well, especially early, they get financial freedom a little bit. This is the way they operate. And could early put up numbers similar to Freddie Peralta? Probably, in their evaluation. Would any of you have thought Quinn Priester would have put up the numbers that he did? That was their evaluation. They wanted that guy. They gave you 3 draft pick and 2 other players. That's how much they wanted him. So I don't know. To me, it can be about money with the Brewers, but I don't know. They've seemed to make really good moves. The Devin Williams move looked really good. We'll see. State of Mange, 1833. We shouldn't forget we have Abreu, 22 homers and 115, some of which he was hurt. He's going to be 27. He could hit 40. I think the young player is about to bring it. Yeah, I mean, I've said this. We seem to cap off everybody. I mean, I wouldn't do that yet with young players, and I say this with peace and love, because a lot of you were ready to do that with Jarren Duran. Jarren Duran was somewhat of a late bloomer, right? I mean, I remember the Raimel Tapia Grand Slam when he didn't move. I remember the days him getting into it with the Royals fans, and I remember what fans' reactions were. His first couple of years weren't great. He was older, 24, 25. He finally played his first full, well, not even his first full year. He played 102 games in 23 at 26 years old and hit .295. So it took him 91 games, a little more, but he was in the minors a lot. And then 27. He had a really good year, and I think last year he did too. The average is what's going to stick out, but still, that filling up a lot, strikeouts still too much. I mean, he'd be the first to tell you that. And you could say to me, well, it could go the other way. It certainly could, but I'm not ready to cap off Abreu. He hasn't even played really a full. He played 132 games in 24, but we don't know if this is still a Gold Glover. That's still going to come every day. Still can run the bases. But more homers last year and less games, way less games. He hit 7 more homers and 17 less games. So, yeah, and I've said this many times. Big year for those guys. Rafaela and Abreu, Duran, Anthony. Well, they all stay. One goes. We'll see. But certainly, and I put Bayo on that. We're not willing to say that this is the end-all for those guys. Even Crochet. I know that sounds weird. RLR Consulting. Some may remember that, speaking of dumb spending, Henry was willing to pay $700 last year to Soto. Yes, and that is legit. That I know for a fact. And I don't know what's going on with that whole situation. I guess Soto and Lindor didn't get along really well. Yeah, I mean, I go back to some of those spending decisions last offseason. They gave Bregman $40 million for 3 years. We were like, what is going on? The move that we're lucky didn't happen. I don't think people remember this. They offered Walker Buehler. Now, this is definitely where you know that the front office is doing this stuff. They offered Walker Buehler 3 years at $75 million, and he said no. Missed 23, had an ERA of over 5 in 16 starts in 24, an ERA of over 4, and he was at like his last 30 starts before the Red Sox signed him weren't great. Now, I was fine with it. I thought it was a great number 5 guy for 1 year. I wasn't for the 3 years that they were willing to go, but that's what they evaluated, and they thought with whatever when they were evaluating him. And he made $8 million the year before, and they gave him 18. They get 10 more million in 25, but the deal was supposed to be for 3 years, which he backed out of. Thank God he backed out of that. That's why again, with spending sometimes, some of my hesitations is that I don't always love the decisions because you're paying, you're overpaying. And we'll see how the Alonso deal works out. It could work out great for Baltimore. And it's good that they did something because they have not. And we'll see if that leads to more. That's going to lead us to the end of the week. Make sure to leave your comments, subscribe to the channel as we soar towards 3,000. And I'll talk to you all weekend here on Red Sox Now, which is presented by FanArch. And as always, go Sox.